the IoT into three categories. We split the big data into two categories, a physical infrastructure and a digital infrastructure. And then we think about AI. What's AI today? It's basically just pattern recognition, which is deep learning, which is machine learning in neural networks. So that's sort of, you know, the GPT-3 and 4 now, and the crazy thing from China that they're building. So you can do pretty interesting stuff with pattern recognition, but you can't do really the intelligence part. 1,000 Brains by Jeff Hawkins, you should read that. It's all about reference frame, all about creating a one world model, which is what we do with the conceptual computing. That's the AI things we're working on.
We being graphmetrics.
We being graphmetrics. So getting back to the IoT part, you have sensors and you have tools or robots. Giant category in the middle here. And you have devices. But I want you to think about these three things, Kai.
Yes.
Functions, your physical functions. You can sense. You have eyes, cameras, you have touch, temperature, feel, everything. You have a bunch of sensors and you can sense a bunch of stuff. That's your sensing mechanism. And then tools, robots, you have a lot, you can move your arms, you have a heart that's beating without, that's automated, it's very good.
Yeah.
Lungs too, and you have a lot of functions in your body. That's the middle one.
Yeah.
And of course, like the Homo sapiens that we are, we can communicate. So that's devices, that's communication. So it's sensing, moving, communicating.
Right.
That's basically what it is. It's functions that we have in our body.
Yeah.
It's very good. And then we have the physical infrastructure. That's 5G. Cloud computing and edge computing.
Talk about edge. I'm going to just move the camera a little bit so you're not too far out on the edge. Yeah, I got that right. I need to move this.
Little bit. Here I am.
Okay, that helps.
There I was. So 5G, that's basically more masts, more antennas. The antennas can aim, and we're using a bigger part of the electromechanical spectrum. The electromagnetic spectrum. Not very well pronounced, but anyway, so 5G is speed. Cloud computing. We think about you can store things in the clouds. Of course, we don't store it in heaven. It's like the same way raindrops makes a cloud, computers makes a computing cloud. So that's storage. It's also processing. It's oversimplification, but storage. But what's going to happen is that we're going to put a lot of GPU computers on the 5G masts that can do really quick graphic calculations. That makes it possible. So that is processing, which makes it possible to move from the devices we're using now, that's mostly screen-based, phones, tablets, computers, TVs, whatever. But if you have an edge computer everywhere in society, this is making our cities into a big computer. So what makes this possible? What it makes possible is that we actually can have, instead of smartphones, we can have glasses. You see the monster HoloLens now.
You don't know this is...
It's not, Kai.
No.
It's not. It's going to be.
Okay.
It's going to be, but it's not now. I think Tony Stark's got a few, but maybe. But we're moving from this is going to change our society, our cities for the next 10 years. And then we will get AR glasses instead of the phone. So we're gonna be a race of people that moves like this, to like this, and just because you're going to have an interface just tracking your fingers. It's going to be really cool. So that's the physical infrastructure. Now we have 5G masts. that's the past. If we're going to the Val plan now, on the wish level, the goal, big computer, society. And then we're going to part, so that's the physical part, and this is the digital part. Big data, that's what that stands for, but this is the digital part. And we just talked about it. We just talked about Tim Berners-Lee and Solid and the fact that we have one data model, RDF, Resource Description Framework, that has a technology called OWL, Web Ontology Language, that allows us to describe concepts. And of course, Solid uses RDF, so every application on Solid, which is the proof of Web 3.0, is using RDF. So as more and more programmers goes to Solid and develop applications, more and more systems are going to speak together there. And it poses a big threat to big tech, because you can make a lot better applications when it's like this. So people is going to move towards Solid. I think it's the best thing. Like, he addressed the social dilemma a few, I think 6 months ago or something. It's of course a problem that big data or the big tech is storing all our data. So we're going to try to prevent that kind with these fantastic technologies. Solid, RDF, OWL, and this gives us great cyber security, gives us universal API, so everything talks together. It gives you an ID, and the best of all, it comes with an interface that lets you have control over which applications, organization or people that you're sharing your data with. So full control over sharing data. So that's sort of the value that comes from this, and this is really, really big. But using these technologies, especially OWL and RDF, we have something called conceptual computing, because when you make ontologies, you sort of make an ontology for like the core of a building, for example, or electro, or birds, whatever. But that is sort of like the world model for the AI that's operating there. But if you had like really systems, if you're really systems thinking about this, you can make an ontology that sort of describes how all of the world fits together. And our friend Fred has done that. So we're actually creating the general purpose machine there, which is actually the same thing that Jeff Hawkins says, that we need this one world model. And if we can have a general one world model for the world, that's one of our inventions, that is going to go absolutely bananas. Because then you can think devices, we're all going around with glasses, they have cameras that records everything, and you actually have a infrastructure too here. You have something called AR cloud, which is basically a point cloud or photogrammetry. That's a spatial map that's connected to this thing, so you get better positioning. Jan Erik Vinje, an on-site viewer, is actually the expert in Norway on this. It's actually Open AR Cloud. It started Open AR Cloud since all of the Google and all the big tech companies are investing in doing point clouds of everything. But it would suck if like Facebook owned the internet. So you don't want Facebook to own the spatial web, so he started Open AR Cloud. And they are talking to Solid, so they are fixing that. They're fixing 3 things: geoposition, much better than GPS, and they're fixing ownership, discovery services. Like if you go down a new town with your glasses, you don't get everything Facebook wants you to see. You want the things you told your AI to see. So that is a really good thing. He's basically Gordon from Batman. No one should have this much power, kind. So, but if you think that the devices has cameras,
right?
This makes it possible for them to view stuff, and then you walk in reality, and then you have a bunch of neural networks that sort of figures out that that's a person. Maybe it's even Kai. In China, we have a social point system. That's creepy. So it's really important when you see this, you can get like really nervous because oh shit, they're going to.
You should be.
Yeah, but it's not 5G. It's this. You have, if you really care about that, you have to go here and think about it, because it's how we structure it.